Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So I've got the Yamaha Fgx800c out. Now this is my right-handed guitar. It's the only righty I have. All the rest of them are lefties. As you guys know, I'm a lefty by nature, but I can play both ways, and of course I'm working on getting better and better and better all the time right-handed. Now, today is just a sound test difference. This guitar comes with D'Addario EXP11 coated strings. They're an 80-20 bronze material. And so I want to do a sound thing with you guys to show you or get you to listen to the sound of this guitar with its own strings on it. And then I'm going to put on a set of Elixer Nanoweb phosphorus bronze in a 1253 gauge. Now this guitar supports 1253 as well as 1254, I believe, is the other gauge it supports. Going down to 11s is generally not a good idea. Yamaha already has this neck pretty straight as it is, and to remove that much extra tension by dropping backwards to 11s, your neck's going to go this way, and then you're going to have fun getting it back up again. So technically you shouldn't go below the 12s, and you really shouldn't go above 12 gauge, like into 13s, because 13s, they don't say whether or not they're supported or not. And one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of guitar players have made over the years is actually putting on heavy gauge strings and then destroying their guitars and wondering why. And that happened to a boatload of Martin guitars years ago. So now Martin actually designs their guitars to handle the thicker gauge, above 12 gauge strings, because they had to do a lot of warranty work apparently they weren't happy about, etc., etc. So now things are different at Martin. But a lot of other companies still haven't come up into the higher gauges yet either, and unless they get specific about it, I probably wouldn't go to heavier than 12 unless the company says yeah you can. So I would definitely call the company directly. Don't ask your music store. They don't know. They're just going to say sure, put on whatever you like, it's whatever suits you, and that's what you're going to get from them, because they have no idea. They're salespeople. They're not Luthieries, right? Anyway, so let's do the sound test here. And of course we have the stock strings on this guitar. The reason I am changing them is because I'm really not comfortable with these strings, although I do like the sound of them. I'm not overly comfy with them, and I do tend to like the nanowebs better, and I'm really hoping that the nanowebs work great on this, because the nanowebs are what came with my Taylor, and that's the only string I use, and of course they are 1253s. So let's get on with this. Okay, so I'm going to go change the strings on this thing, and we'll come back, so it'll be instant for you guys. Okay guys, so this is actually the next day. I ended up getting involved in a bunch of stuff yesterday, but I did get the strings on this morning, got her all tuned up, stretched in place, and ready to rock and roll. So we're going to see what these Elixer Nanoweb 1253s are like in comparison to the original stock strings. Generally, when it comes to brand new guitars, the strings are usually questionable. In this case, they were pretty good strings for stock strings, but I wasn't really feeling too comfortable with them, so they probably were 54. I haven't measured them yet to verify. I did keep them, but I thought, well, let's try something I'm used to that I really like. as far as gauge wise goes, and I couldn't get the same brand in the lighter gauge, so it was kind of like, you know, they didn't have any in stock. So I thought, let's try the Nanowebs because I really love them on my Taylor. By the way, do stay tuned as well. I'm going to do a versus video between this guitar and my Taylor 114 CE, and they both have the same strings on them, same gauge and everything. Taylor comes stock with these particular strings, so I mean, that's part of the reason I fell in love with the guitar, was the string thickness as well as the type of strings and the sound out of them. Strings will change the sound of your guitar, either for the better or for the worse, depending on what you throw on there. So you got to kind of look at it that way. I've also gone ahead and snugged up the nuts as well. I found, you know, as per usual with any guitar, these nuts were a little bit loose, so I snugged them up. So you got to check those nuts once in a while, because if you get like a buzzing sound, it's likely not your frets. It can be, but always check these nuts and washers first. Make sure they're snug. So if you have tuners that have these, make sure from time to time they're just snugged up, and that's it. And you know, then if you get buzzing issues, then I'd be looking at, you know, your neck as far as, you know, how straight or, you know, not straight it is, that sort of thing, as well as frets and fret wear and so on. Anyway, so let's do our sound test on this thing now. Keep in mind, I'm normally a lefty player. Okay, so that's what I got for you guys. Let me know which strings you thought sounded better to you. Okay, like I said, strings do change the sound and tonal response of your guitar. You know, so you've got to really kind of like judge it for yourself as best as you can. I know it's a video, YouTube compresses stuff, which is another reason why, you know, I do this with just a regular microphone, open air recording, so you get a sound also not only of the guitar but also the room I'm in as well. That changes your environment for your sound of any instrument too. So, you know, yeah, I kind of like them. I think they're nice. You know, I tried these. I had a Takamine GD30 at one time. Really loved that guitar until Taylor came along. You know, I tried these same strings on that guitar. They didn't seem to last so long, and I really didn't like the sound. And you know, in comparison to its own strings, right? And it was another guitar that used D'Addario coated strings, but these are just so much nicer. And nanowebs are a lot smoother too, you know, for even running up and down the fretboard compared to a coated protected string even. You know, where they're not any kind of a web coating or whatever, they're just like a treated string. Okay, the string that's a model up from the ones that came with this are what's called a protected coated string, which is a little bit different, you know. Yeah, I like these. The gauge is nice, and the sound out of these strings is really good too, you know. Okay, so you guys be the judge, and stay tuned for that versus video where I put this up against my Taylor 114 CE, and then you guys can say which one you like the sound of the best. Now keep in mind, this is a little bit bigger body than the Taylor, a little thicker, so it is going to have more bass out of it too. So, you know, body size, shape, all makes a difference in the tonal response of a guitar. So what it's going to sound like and how well it's going to project too, even with volume. Anyways, so I guess my next project on this guitar is I got to install a strap pin on the heel here, and I'm not doing that on camera. That's a bit of a nerve-wracking job even at the best of times, and I got to be very, very careful about it. So I'm gonna wait a day or two and, you know, just chill, and then I'll put one on, because I would really like to put a strap on there properly the way it should be, and so I'm going to do that. But thank you so much for watching, staying tuned, checking out the video. Again, comments below, tell me what you think were the better strings on this guitar in your opinion. You know, like I said, the strings are really good shape, which was, you know, pretty good for stock strings. You know, they're usually not that nice, but they just weren't doing it for me. They just weren't comfy enough, and they felt a little on the thick side. But like I said, I still have to measure to see if they were 53s or 54s, but they sure felt like 54s, because those feel a lot better. But we'll see. I could be wrong, but they still, either way, even if they are the same, they just didn't feel right to me in the end. So I went with these, and I'm actually happy that they sound really good on this guitar. So that's good. Anyways, see you later. Ciao.